You've been warned. That's your official warning. We're not alone anymore. Are you ready to
Okay,
rock? Are you ready to
I'm
rock?
ready. I'm
Okay.
ready.
Tell me
I'm
if you can
ready.
hear this because sometimes, anyways, with the Zoom, I can't tell. Tell me if you can hear this. Did you hear
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Yeah. What is
All right.
that?
That's that was accurate. Okay. Let's start recording and then I'll tell you what's going on because
Okay. Oh
I'm
my
gonna.
God, you've got stuff planned.
Well, it's just no, I have
Yes.
nothing planned. But it's been
Okay.
weird. It's been a very weird morning for me because I'll tell you in that recording. Let's get in there. Okay.
Okay, let's do it. Get in there.
All right. Quiet on the set. Mary Jo Eustace on Toronto Mike, episode 1251. Here we go.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1251 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Season 4 of Yes, We Are Open, an award-winning podcast from Monaris, hosted by FOTM Al Grego. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. The Moment Lab. Brand marketing and strategy, PR, advertising and production. You need the Moment Lab. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, making her return to Toronto Mic'd, is Mary Jo Eustace.
Woohoo! Hi. Hi. Hi.
Welcome back, MJ.
Thank you. I got dolled up for you.
I was let's just there's no secrets on the show. We've
No.
already recorded today because I was lucky enough to record you chatting with FOTM Jeannie Becker.
Yeah, seriously. Honestly, it was a moment. She is, I mean, I called her a bitch off the bat. That was a little tense, but then she leaned into it and she was so forthcoming and so honest and so hilarious and poignant. I mean, we learned so many things about her today that I don't think she's spoken about a few of the things that she spoke about this morning, right?
I think you're correct. For example, she
Yeah.
talked about the breakup of her marriage.
Yeah.
I don't hear her talk about that too often. But what I was going to say, so you recorded with Jeannie Becker for like an hour. So I
Yeah.
saw you for an hour. I'm staring at Mary Jo Eustace for an hour. There
Yeah.
are worse things to do. Then I went and I actually recorded a new episode of the PPL podcast, the Pro Padel League podcast. So I went off and
My
did that.
favorite podcast ever. I listened to
There's
that
an LA
in and
team.
out.
There's an LA team called the LA Beat in this PPL. So get on board. Okay, Mary Jo. But
Okay.
then
Yeah. Focus.
we got back together remotely, of course, because you're in LA, I'm in Toronto, and we got back, and then I noticed you looked different than you looked for Jeannie Becker. This is what I noticed.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You dolled yourself up for me.
I put on lipstick for you.
But why no lipstick for Jeannie Becker? We recorded that video.
Well, I did have some lipstick, but I had my hair out.
Okay.
So this is a different look, like a little sleeker, and I put lipstick on. I needed a boost. So I tried to switch it up for your podcast.
I think
Is
you
that
have
fair?
I think you have a crush on me.
I have a crush on your hair.
Well, that hair is protecting my brain, so it's very important.
We need to talk about your brain. We have a lot of
Do that
topics
now
on the
because
table.
we have a lot of catching up to do because, well, I'm going to save it. I'll even set the table after you finish with your, I'm like an air traffic controller here. After
Yeah.
you finish with your brain questions, what would you like to ask me about my humongous brain?
Well, imagine my surprise when I find out my friend like had a hematoma or a tumor or a brain aneurysm out of the blue, because I was like, Ray Dawn, my friend Ray Dawn was like, do you know what's wrong with Toronto Mike? And I'm like, no, what happened? She said, fucking check it out. Something's up with Toronto Mike, which is you. And then I looked and I did some deep diving and I'm like, oh my God, the guy like had an aneurysm 2 days ago. I spoke to him yesterday. You didn't even mention your blood thing. You mentioned nothing.
No.
I thought you
I
were a
didn't
little
wanna bring you
slow
down.
on the, I thought you were a little slow on the phone. I thought something's not quite right here, but you would like almost, well, I don't want to say stroked out. I don't want to make it more dramatic than it was, but you had a health scare.
Well, I can't believe you just said you did a deep dive. Was your deep dive listening to my like 20-minute episode about what happened? Like, where?
Yeah, I did a deep dive. I did a deep dive and I shared it with her and she was like, Jesus. But yeah, no, I did a deep dive into it. But you were very matter of fact. I had lots of questions listening to it, but it was like, wow, like you're
Did
so,
you write down those questions? Because I could answer all your questions. But let me clarify for everybody. You
yes,
just called it an aneurysm, and you called it, I think you used the word stroke. And for the
I
record,
used everything. I threw it all out there just in case one of them was right, pretty much.
for
Yeah.
the record, because in case somebody who cares about me is concerned listening to you, I did not have an aneurysm, and I did not even have a
You.
stroke.
Oh, phew. Okay.
I had
I
a
didn't
blood
really
clot.
listen to the deep dive then. I wasn't really listening. Sorry. Go on. Go on.
You know
Sorry.
who did listen? I'm going to shout her out now, and I have a question that came in for you from her in a minute. But I'm going to shout out off the top,
Yeah.
FTM Ray Dawn Chong, because
Yeah.
she really seems to care about me. You should see the note I got when she heard my
She likes you. She has a little crush on you, actually.
Well, she's going to have to get through Mary Jo to get to me. That's
I know. I'm your number one bitch. I told her that. I
Oh.
said you have to go to you have to assume the second position. But yeah, she's got a little girl crush on you. For sure. She does.
Wow. If I just want to go back in time and tell me that one day Ray Dawn Chong and Mary Jo Eustace will be fighting over me, I'm quite flattered by all of that.
Naked at the funeral home that you promote every day. Yeah. Well, it's going to be like mudslinging or something. But yeah, okay. So yeah, so it wasn't a stroke, it wasn't an aneurysm.
No, it was a
What
blood
was
clot.
it?
It was a
Yeah.
blood clot on my brain.
Yeah.
I just literally yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? It might have been yesterday or the day before yesterday. I wrote a detailed update on torontomike.com in which I share the good news I just received. Are you sitting down? Are you ready for the good news?
I am sitting down. What's the good news?
Imagine you were
What-
standing up. You'd have to sit down for this. Okay, the good news.
I know. Yeah.
So, two things. The hematologist tested my blood for many a genetic disorder that would cause blood clots.
Right.
The assumption was I had one of these, and that's why I got the blood clot. And then, therefore, I would need to be on blood thinners for the rest of my life.
Oh,
This
boy.
hematologist, I met with her in person last week, and she said to me, "Your blood is normal." That's good, right? Normal is
That's amazing. It's normal. So there's no markers. Like there's no like.
yeah. There's no
Okay, good.
disorder. There's no disorder.
Okay, good.
So
Good.
on the although I'm still on the blood thinners for a while, but that's fine. So on the hematology front, the blood is normal. I like hearing that. Okay. Then
good.
then I had a phone call with my neurologist, and I told him I was still having the headaches, like 7 weeks into this thing, and he said, "Oh, I hope like we got to check in on your brain and make sure this blood clot's not growing." And he
Did you
said
have your MRI? Did you have it?
the MRI to see if I have brain damage is scheduled
Yeah.
for late May. I have not had it yet, but
That'll be dicey. Go on.
I'll send
Dicey.
you the video and you can tell me what you think. So yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a little nervous too. Okay, so
I'm-
this neurologist sent me for a CAT scan. So I biked over, did my CAT scan, and then he reviews it all, and he calls me up and he says, "I like what I see." He says it's shrinking.
Amen.
It's shrinking.
It's shrink. And I bet that's the first time you heard shrinking and you thought it's a good thing. You were like, oh,
It
good.
shrinks like a
It's
fucking turtle.
Oh, ooh. Okay, good. But this is good. In the scheme of things, this is
Yeah.
really good. Okay,
So it's
good.
what you want, right? So my brain is absorbing the blood clot, which is what's going to happen. So blah blah blah. Now I'm boring myself, but the headaches will go away because it's just
Good.
brain experienced trauma, which caused the headache. The headache will go away. The blood clot's gonna be gone. My brain's gonna absorb that motherfucker. It's gonna go. Okay.
Good.
The blood is normal. So I couldn't like have any more good news. I mean,
That
shitty, I
is
got-
great news. That is such great news. So Is it too soon to make like brain tumor aneurysm jokes? Can we do that?
It's
Can
not
we?
the tumor.
It's not a tumor. Can we delve into that? Well, thank God.
You believe in God?
Seriously.
You believe in God?
I don't know God per se, but I definitely believe in energy and spirits. I for sure I do. Yeah. Yeah, I
hear it a
do.
lot. Like I hear people say, I don't believe in God, but I believe in something. Like there's something out there. There's an energy. There's something. And I always
Yeah.
wonder, like, could you be more specific with your feedback? Like, what does that mean exactly, Mary Jo Eustace?
Okay, thank you so much. Because I was just at the Vatican in Rome a couple of months ago. And when I walked into
Spoiler
the
alert.
Vatican Museum, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. These Catholics stole everything. They took everything and just naked men everywhere. I'm like, this is a party palace. This is Cirrus Erotica in here. Like, no, I don't picture it as like a male figure or, like that I saw in the Sistine Chapel. I don't picture it that way, but there's energy in the universe. There's an energy force field that really interests me that I think is, I don't know, I believe in reincarnation and stuff like
Whoa, whoa,
that.
whoa, 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 whoa. So like,
Yeah.
you might come back as like a frog?
Yeah. Or what did Anthony Bourdain say? What if I come back as a sea cucumber after having this amazing life? Yeah, no, I believe in reincarnation. I believe you keep coming back until you get it right. So you could come back a million different times, but I
But you're
do
not
believe
aware of
in
your
it.
previous selves. Like if you come back, it's like a mutually exclusive happenstance. Like it's no awareness that you were once Mary Jo Eustace.
I think you get flashes of it. I think that you get stuff in your character that you're like, oh, this is from a previous lifetime. I've had that happen a few times.
And you're in the
Had that
hot seat
happen.
here, Mary Jo. I just want to know, like, so you believe this, and I'm listening to you, and that's wild to hear you. But my question is this:
Yeah.
what makes you believe that?
What makes me believe that?
Yeah, like you just decided that, hey, this is something I think I'll start to believe. Like if you apply that to anything else, it makes no sense. Like you don't have any evidence, obviously, that we come back as other things. So you've just decided this is something I'm going to believe in.
This is something that intellectually and spiritually makes sense to me. It absolutely makes sense to me that you come into this lifetime to correct a problem, that you come in and you choose everything and the obstacles to learn lessons. I believe that. I believe there's a purpose and a reason that you're here. So I believe that that happens. And there's something that you keep doing it until you get to a certain level of expertise. But I believe in the energy in the universe. I believe in it. And I can't pinpoint it to a certain figure, but I believe in it.
So what
I
happens
do.
when you die? Like shout out to Ridley Funeral Home, but one day you
Yes. Yeah.
So
Not at Ridley. It's not going to happen at Ridley. I'm telling
because
you right
you
now.
hate Toronto, we'll talk about that. You're gonna it's gonna happen in some LA place.
Or
But you can
Italy.
die.
Or like this afternoon. I don't know. I could take a bad
Oh.
fall. I could tumble over there
Well,
and
I
that
mean,
could be it.
let's face it. Like I was thinking that when I got the news in emergency that you have a blood clot
Yeah.
in your brain, I'm thinking, oh, like this is how it ends. I'm in my
And
late.
you're a young guy with young kids and a full head of hair.
Right. No one with hair this good should die, right?
No,
So,
I agree. I agree.
but what happens when you die, Mary Jo? Like, is it lights out, and then next thing you know, you're like a horse?
Well, that's a weird transition. No, I think, well, first of all, no offense to Ridley. I bet they do cremation, don't they?
Oh my God, yeah. Are you kidding?
That's one of their
It's an
top sellers.
they
One-stop shop. One-stop shop.
shop for all your dead person needs.
Your dead needs. Well, I'd want to be cremated because the thought of being in a box, like if you ever watched The Young and Restless, the soap opera, lots of people get buried alive in a coffin, and I do not want that to happen to me.
They're gonna make sure you're dead before you put you. But I'm
right. No, but I'm always worried. What if I wake up? No, so I want to be cremated, and I believe it continues. I believe it continues. I don't believe that it's all over. I believe that your spirit and your soul goes somewhere, and there's a transition, and that's why I believe in. There's so many things in life that are familiar that you know that have happened or you feel. So there's a continuum. There's a continuum. Oh my God, the universe is so amazing. We're just like
it's
and Jan
massive.
talked. It's massive. And Michael Singer talks about this in The Untethered Soul. Like we're just like a little speck on this planet in a galaxy to get to another star is 200 years. Like we're just nothing.
In the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, we're all connected. And I just think that there's a continuum. I like to think that there's a continuum of learning.
Interesting.
what I
We've never
think.
had this conversation. I just thought of it. Okay, so I'm learning more about you already, and I feel I know you pretty well because we've been working together for quite some time. And we're going to discuss what's new since you were last on Toronto Mike. But first, I want you to ask me about my morning. Just like, hey, because before you had talked to Jeannie Becker, which was your morning, because you're
It
in
was my
LA,
morning.
that
Yeah,
was my
yeah.
afternoon. Do you know that? That was my afternoon.
I understand the time difference.
Ask
Okay.
ask Toronto Mike about his morning.
Okay, now we're talking about Toronto Mike in the third person. Okay, let me ask Toronto Mike about his morning. I was going to say, how was your morning, brain aneurysm boy? No, how was your morning? How was
Okay.
your morning?
Every Friday morning for 5 years, I have whatever happens in the very early morning, like get the kids up, get them to school, whatever. But then I make a coffee. Every morning for 5 years, I have started Hebsy on Sports with Mark Hebsher.
Who
Every
knew?
Friday morning. So Mark Hebsher, I know you don't care about many sports, although you seem to be
I
like,
love sports. I love sports.
but you don't
I'm
care
big
about
sports.
hockey. You don't
No,
care,
hockey, I don't, but I do love other sports.
even though
I'm a
you're
big sports gal.
Canadian.
Oh
You do,
God, I've been
hockey
down
never
this
took.
path before. I just think the season's too long. People should not be playing hockey with tans. I think that it's too long. The season's too long. I
Okay.
do.
Do you
I'm
like
sorry.
baseball?
The games are too long. I mean, they just go on for
You
hours and
like
hours.
NFL football is what
I
you
love
like.
NFL football. I love tennis, basketball. I would say those are
Okay.
my sports.
Just so you
Okay.
know, basketball and hockey have like the same length seasons. Okay.
Oh, they do.
I'm going somewhere here. Yeah. So this morning, I start up Hebsy on Sports. We go live on his YouTube channel and record his podcast at 9 a.m. Eastern. I start at 10 minutes early, just like I do for you, to make sure he sounds good, and we go test go live and everything. So I do that this morning with Mark Hebsher, and I said, "Hey, Mark." Oh, I guess I call him Hebsy. "Hey, Hebsy, you didn't send me any notes for this week's episode." And he goes, "No notes today. This is the last show." Like
What?
5 years, and he's the
What?
first TM. Yeah, yeah. He's the first TMDS client. He goes, "This is the last show," and I'm
No
getting
heads up. No
no
nothing.
no
No
nothing.
nothing.
I'm
No
not even
foreplay, so to speak. No foreplay.
get the
Okay.
Vaseline, MJ. We're going for this, okay? So
Okay.
he's yeah. So now it's like I'm like, let's just go live and talk about it. So I start recording, and he talks about how like last night he had a like I don't know, won't call it an epiphany, but he's just not feeling it anymore.
An aneurysm? Is that what happened?
He
Did he
wants
have
to
an
enjoy and by the way, I don't mean any disrespect to Hebsy because I love this guy. He was the first client, and I'm happy to have been a part of that show for 5 years. But zero heads up, zero notice, and I find out as I'm recording episode 332 of Hebsy on Sports
Wow.
that it is the very
Wow.
last episode. So that's it. That
Wow.
was my morning. So it's like, oh, so I delete the recurring. I've had this recurring calendar event for 9 a.m. Friday. I've had it for 5 years. I deleted it. My Friday mornings are now wide open, everybody. And I told Hebsy if he's happy, I'm happy. And I just wanted to let the listeners of Toronto Mike know that the very final episode of Hebsy on Sports recorded today.
Oh my God. So how do you feel? Do you feel violated? Do you feel sad? Like, do you feel like you wish you had known, or like, what do you feel? Because that's a
No, I get it.
long-term
Like
relationship though. It's
I,
long-term.
I would have liked a little notice, but he explained he didn't want like a farewell tour. He just wanted it to be like, bam. He didn't want to do it like a lot of famous people do, where it's like, I'm retiring at the end of the year, and then it's like a countdown and anything. Everybody's like, oh, we love you, we'll miss you. Here's your cake. Here's your keg gift cards. Like he just wanted to disappear into the fog of night, and he did that. So I get. But I think I would have liked a little heads up, like maybe give me a couple weeks notice that we're winding down just for like scheduling purposes and stuff. So, I felt a little blindsided, but then my emotions went from disappointed the show's over because it was he's the first TMDS client.
He's the OG. OG.
Yeah, he's the first one.
Yeah.
And that was 5 years ago when I launched TMDS. And I'm not just a producer. I actually co-host the show and I enjoy it. I like his takes. I like him. That's why we became friends. So like I was like disappointed, but then listening to him talk, he seemed like he says it was every Thursday night he'd have this anxiety about preparing for the next morning. Like,
Yeah. You know what? It's funny because we've done some big interviews this week, Jan Arden and Jeannie Becker, and
wow.
we have big interviews coming up. And I get it because, and I've done, lots of morning television and lots of stuff, improv and filming. And you always, just before you do it, you get that thing. You're like, fuck, you want to be so good. You want to have research and everything. And, you never know how it's going to go. Like, once you get your
Right.
10,000 hours, it's going to be probably good, but you never know what's going to happen. And it's anxiety. Like
So he
you
wants
can
to
lose a
retire.
night's sleep. Yeah, I get it, but
So it's
still,
done.
you were his podcast lover. He should have given you a little update. He should have given you a
But
little something,
you're right,
something.
of course. But my friend Hebsy is happy with his decision and content with his decision. And he's got like a new girlfriend. And I don't know how new it is anymore.
Oh,
He moved out of his like college in Clinton basement apartment to move to like Markham to live with his girlfriend.
why
Like
was he living in a basement apartment? How old
he
is this
want,
guy?
he's a little older than you. He's in his 60s, mid
So he's
60s.
he's 50 and he's living in a basement apartment.
Listen, I almost called your pod. We're teasing because we're gonna walk through it a little bit. We're teasing it,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
act, and we're gonna talk about your new venture and why there's a new venture. But I wanted to call it 60 Bitches because you're 60 years old, Mary Jo Eustace.
Fuck you. And that's part of your brain damage speaking, because that's not what the title, it was not. He kept sending me stuff with 60 bitches. I'm like, is something wrong? It's like, did he have another episode? It's called Senior Bitches. Senior Bitches,
Okay,
right?
spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's because the listenership, many of the people who maybe aren't subscribed to your show, but they should be, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But like, let's go back to November 2022. Do you remember November
I
2022?
sure do.
Okay, so you
I
made your
sure do.
Toronto Mike debut in
I did.
November 2022. Here's what I wrote in the description that I published at the time. So I'm just going to read this verbatim because we're setting the table, because this is the last time there was an update from you on Toronto Mike. So
It's like
in,
60 minutes. Go. Just go.
in this 1145th episode of Toronto Mike, Mike chats with Dean McDermott and Mary Jo Eustace about how they fell in love, why Dean left the marriage and married Tori Spelling, the tabloid circus that followed, and how they learned to be friends again. You can subscribe to their new podcast, X's and Uh-Ohs, here. This episode is exactly 1 hour and 38 minutes and 34 seconds. How are you doing so far? I'm just checking in on you.
I'm getting a rash. Go on.
I just read verbatim the last time
Yes.
you were on
Yes.
Toronto. So that happened,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We won't dwell
Yes.
into it, but that happened. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Listeners of Toronto Mike witnessed 90 minutes of featuring you and Dee McDermott, who are no longer together romantically, but you appeared to be very, very friendly. And we talked quite a bit about how you had this new project, and we were recording episodes of X's and Uh-Ohs. Like, this is just what was happening in November 2022.
Right.
Okay. Whew, okay. Don't worry. We're going to get to 60 Bitches, which is really called Senior Bitches. And
Senior Bitches.
I really have a lovely comment from the aforementioned Ray Don Chong.
Oh,
and
okay. Wonderful.
questions from
Wonderful.
people like David Ryder and Mike Shorman.
Oh, great. I love
You know
that.
David Ryder, by the way, he writes for the Toronto Star. And
Yeah, he said, yeah, the name's familiar. Definitely. Yeah.
he's a bigwig at 1 Yonge Street, even though they're no longer at 1 Yonge Street. Okay, so
At 2 Yonge Street? Are they at 2?
they
Okay.
got booted.
I'm ready.
I don't know. They're doing
Boot
something.
it. Boot
Okay.
it. That's so Canadian. Okay.
As I recall, and just let me blab, and you don't have to say a word here, but unless you want to, of course, because you're my special guest. But in
Special.
November, we were trying to promote the new podcast, which was very good, and I had 11 episodes recorded. You went on 3 shows that I had a production role with. Okay, so you came on my show, Toronto Mike. I just read the description. That was November 2022, episode 1145. You did come on Dana Levinson's show, which is called On the DL. You both appeared on that. And I put you both on Humble and Fred, even though that's 5:15 a.m. California time, which must have been hell, right?
It was. It was hell. It was hell. It was
Yeah.
early.
So Carla Collins was just on, and we had the same conversation. I almost don't like inviting people because that is terrible time to do anything.
It's brutal. It is brutal. It's dark out. Let's put it that way. It's a bit brutal.
I wouldn't do anything at 5:15. Okay, why are you living in LA? Come back to Toronto. We'll talk about that soon. Okay, so
Okay.
okay, so Dean McDermott actually left the Humble and Fred interview like midstream because he hated it, and he left it. Okay, so he will just say he bailed, and then shortly thereafter, this is now like American Thanksgiving, which is like also November, by the way. So it must be shortly after that lovely episode we recorded at 11:45. Dean said he basically I'm out. I'm not doing this project anymore. I no longer want to be doing X's and uh-ohs. Those 9 episodes that have not dropped but have been recorded, I don't want them dropped. And he left the project. Do you just want to speak to that just in generality here, like whatever you're comfortable with? But Dean and you were working on this project for months, and I was part of this recording many episodes, and he just decided he didn't want anything to do with X's and uh-ohs anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. To speak to that, I actually never got a reason. I never got a reason for it. There was some events that happened around it, but I never got a reason for it. And then, the trajectory and the narrative changed drastically after that. So, I did not, but I say this and I own it. I take full responsibility for the fact that I got into that situation to, see if this was possible, if you can get along with your ex, or in our situation. So I chose to do that. We've talked about this before. I don't see myself as a victim of it on any level. I think it was dynamics that are established that are not going to change. And I say my bad and my good for doing it, right? Like my bad for not knowing better, but my good for doing it, for thinking there might be a different outcome. So I can't really speak to that question, but there was some family issues around it that happened. It was just sort of a perfect storm, and it ended really, really abruptly. And I was just as surprised as you were. I was just as shocked as you were, because it was getting a great trajectory. But I did feel, if I'm kind of getting a little bit honest here and a little self-reflection.
You better be, Mary Jo. This is Toronto Mike. No bullshit.
Okay, no bullshit. I did start to feel that as we started to get into the deeper issues that I really wanted to discuss, I felt that there was a level that was not going to happen. And I felt that the Humble and Fred was just reflective of that, when the questions were going to get dicey, that it was going to be harder to do. And I completely, it is completely my ex-husband's choice not to engage in it any longer. That is his choice. If he was uncomfortable going there, I get it. But it also happened sort of in another article that Shanann Gavani wrote. So my interest was that we were so, the relationship, the past relationship had been so contentious and difficult that if we could get to the other side, I thought that was a great journey, but I really felt we had to acknowledge the stuff that had happened prior. And that didn't seem to be a place that we were going to be able to go. So, I mean, the intention was good. It was good. But too many variables to control on this one. So I'm just taking my responsibility, my, my engagement with it. And was it the best decision for me to do? Well, I've learned from it. Do I love all the lessons? Maybe not necessarily, but I mean, I did choose to do it. So I put myself in that situation, and what followed, I take full accountability for, and I don't, I own it. I own it. So, it's just, that's kind of what happened. You
gave it a go. Look, you tried. It was kind of a social experiment, like, because it wasn't just that you were exes. Because I have an ex. You can't throw a rock and hit some people with ex spouses.
Everybody has an ex. Everybody has an ex, right?
But as I pointed out in that episode, and as any knowledgeable FOTM listening knows, that you guys had the extra layer there where the tabloids seemed very interested in your breakup because of certain people involved. So you had to deal for the last, I don't know how many years, almost 20 years or something, you had to deal with tabloid and whatever you call these, like celebrity news articles. Right. In the tabloids forever, right?
Yeah, the culture of it. Yeah. And by the way, once it's out there, it's in perpetuity. You can't do anything about it.
Whether it's true or not. Okay, so now I'm leading to just one little thing I'll touch on before we get you out of the country. Okay, so again, being fair to you and people involved and that you know and love. So I'm being very, very, very fair. You have to trust me on this one. But I have never been tabloid fodder, of course. So
Really? Not even after your aneurysm around your brain thing? Nothing?
maybe
Nothing.
the Canadian tabloids were very interested in that.
Okay.
Maybe they'll be something like Hebsy quits, Hebsy on sports and fires Toronto Mike. Be the headline. Okay,
It's
so
kind of hot.
in
Go on.
I guess shortly after the bail, I'll call it the bailing, which neither of us saw coming, and I was shocked by the bailing because everything had been so like you guys were rowing together, and it all seemed so beautiful. And we spent so many hours together on Zoom, and then all of a sudden the bailing happened. So the bailing was shocking to me, but it's like, that's your right. I won't drop the. I have them here on my Google Drive. These 9 unaired episodes. I never drop them. I'm an honorable guy. So shortly thereafter, I was part of like tabloid articles kind of slagging you again and talking about the why X's and O's was not continuing and stuff. Like, so what I'm telling you is I had a taste. I had 0.001% of what you've been living with for 20 years. And I learned from that 0.001% that truth does not matter, and there's the tabloids just love to run with salacious bullshit regardless of who is hurt and who is dragged, and I think that culture sucks.
It does suck. And I think that, yeah. And we talked about this a bit too, because you were a tabloid virgin and I'm a tabloid whore.
Right.
We talked about like sort of that first taste that you had of it and how you just found it really disorienting.
Sucks.
And you roamed and I roamed, and, we sort of dealt with it different ways. But I remember you saying, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it makes you
fucked up
angry.
because I know the truth, because I live the truth. I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm so rude.
Yeah.
I am the host of this program, but I found
apparently.
And we're going to get back to the roamed because it's a very clever line I used, and it makes sense in a minute here. But okay, I found it particularly fucked up because I was living and breathing the truth, and I know what's in my heart and mind. And as I practice, 5 years of TMDS, I know how I treat my clients and what goes on. And having, being the unnamed producer stabbing Dean McDermott in the back and all these things I was reading about in people.com. I guess that's not the magazine, but it's a digital like service from People, which I always thought of as like above this. And I guess they've changed over the years. What do I know? But it sucked because I knew the truth and I knew what was being published. And even though they called me like the unnamed producer, people who know and, follow me knew exactly who it was because I've been talking about X's and O's on Toronto Mike in episode 1145. So shitty culture. I am so sorry, Mary Jo. We're good friends now. I'm so sorry that you've had to live in that tabloid world for so long because truth does not matter. And it is such bullshit and people seem to consume it and believe it.
Yeah, no, they do. And it's funny when you see people.com and a source. Yes, source, give me a break. A source is like a PR person, giving their spin on everything. And it's just like so insidious. And look, I mean, when we were promoting our show, we did interviews and, so I've engaged in it. I've definitely engaged in it. But this last experience was the death nail for me on it because I've utilized it over the years. But this last time was too much, for all the different things that played out around it. And yeah, it is like that. And it's just a really interesting thing in culture right now. Like, I don't really have any interest in it. I don't even get it. It's just sort of putting down people to feel better about yourself or promoting people who are idiots, and that I guess sell magazines and do all this stuff, or I don't even know they sell magazines anymore. I guess they're clicks, or whatever is happening around it.
Like this person is fat now. Look at how bad this person's plastic surgery turned out.
Yeah,
like it's just meant to like make you feel better. Like, look at this famous person who look at how they dress when they go to the market. Look at how this person has aged. Like, oh, this guy.
It's vicious. Now, like when I first got divorced in the tabloids, they added 5 or 6 years to my age.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I was 60 way back then. They said I was 5'11" and from Texas. And, like all this stuff that I used to see about myself, there was no truth to it,
Right.
Whatever. So I think after a span of roughly about 20 years with it, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Like once it gets on a tear, and it gets out of control. And then what happens, because of the, obviously the internet and social media, it gets reiterated on 9 billion
Right.
different platforms.
Scraper sites take the quotes from people.com and republish it because they're looking for SEO, right? And they're looking for
Yeah.
clicks themselves because they have their own ads. So it's basically like a self-propelling bullshit machine.
Right. And they take it out of context. So nothing's in context anymore. So
right.
you read a quote. So it's fucked up. So
And people don't like, you can always listen because we did drop 2 episodes of you and Dean, and people could always just still in the feed. Like you can always listen to those 2 episodes and make your own decision, but people don't bother to necessarily to take that actual step, and they just read something and go, "Oh my God, this is like what a horrible thing here." Meanwhile, like literally, like we've published these episodes so you can make your own decision. It's just are people either getting dumber or lazier or both.
Or both. It's the culture. And again, I've been part of it, and over the years utilized it and been, again, not victim, but I have been certainly portrayed, not great, sometimes good, sometimes shitty. So yeah, and
Go on. I'm sorry. Now you finish.
Anyway, anyway, so what I think was interesting about this experiment is, and no regrets, no victimhood, let me say that again, was your perspective just going, whoa, this is fucking weird. I didn't know this. And now you know it.
Right.
So there's not many people who know what that feels like. There just
now
isn't.
I know it. Now I know it. So I feel great empathy. Okay. So
Yeah.
Mary Jo, that's like December. I don't know. This happens in December 2022, which is like, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. Then I'm thinking, okay, well, Dean just bailed, so there goes X's and uh-ohs, but you, for a period of time, you wanted to continue X's and uh-ohs by yourself.
Yeah.
So we recorded episodes of X's and uh-ohs without Dean. We just changed the theme and we changed the picture, got rid of Dean, and we dropped episodes. So I guess I want to find out, earlier you used the expression, we each roamed, right? Because here's what happened. As I was like listening to what was written about the unnamed producer, while I was reading it, I was trying to figure out what the hell it was talking about because I deemed it bullshit. And I wanted to know like who's telling what lies where. It bothered me. It actually hurt me and bothered me because I thought Dean was a friend, and now I was like, what the fuck? So legit bothered by it. And I thought I knew this guy and I didn't. But then I would deal with it by roaming the city on my bicycle. But I'm curious to find out, where did you roam? Because you did disappear on me for, I don't know, a month or so. Like, tell me about that.
Well, I think that, there was such an implosion on so many different levels, like personally, professionally, because of that fallout, and that I talked about this before, when stuff like this happens in your life, people have it happen. You have like an implosion, stuff goes down the drain, and it all sort of happened at once. And I thought I really need to do a big life reset here. I really, this is kind of too much for me to, what's the word? Not absorb. Well, to even, to process. Yeah. To even process like I'm just not, so I need a complete change of scenery where I'm sort of going to be forced to confront these experiences and what they meant to me and my involvement and all that stuff. So I actually decided first week of January, I went to Rome. I got on a plane, didn't speak Italian, didn't know anybody. And I went over to the most, as I said, beautiful, broken city in the world, which I think represented, humanity. And I went there for like 7 weeks and did like these deep dives and writing and walking around the city, for 10 miles a day. I, the Borghese Gardens. I would hang out by the Vatican with the nuns, having lunch with the priests, met some great Italians at my sports bar, watching NFL football, who showed me places that people don't normally see. And, I had a friend come visit me, my friend Anne Marie, and she's coming up after the Jan Arden podcast. And I've known her for 10 years. And at 61 or 62, she is starting on the most exciting job she's ever had in her career. And we went for lunch and we started talking about aging. And she said to me, "You're a senior." And I said, "Fuck you. I'm not a senior." She said, "You're a senior. You're over 55. You're a senior. And it's time that we start owning our age and our life and the good, bad, the explosions, all of it. And you got to flip that word senior and make it positive, because in most life formats, it is positive if you're a senior, right? You've got wisdom, you've got respect. And then I'm like, yeah, senior bitches. I love that. And I got in touch with you, said, that's what I want to do. I said, my narrative of trying to get along with my ex and sort of making that all right, that had happened over the course of 2 decades, was a narrative that was not obviously working for me anymore, and never really did me much good anyway, so I wasn't going to hold on to that anymore. And it was ready to move on to the next phase of life and the next thing. And that was an epiphany moment. It was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's
How
what I want to do.
spontaneous, Mary Jo, was this trip to Rome? Like, was it like, oh, I need to like clear my head, reset, I need to get away from here? Like, did you just randomly go to spin a globe and say, okay, like how spontaneous was the trip?
So spontaneous. Like January 2nd, I'm like, I think I got to go somewhere. And I was like, and I'm fortunate that I can work remotely and do all that stuff. And I was like, I don't want to lie on a beach. I don't want to go somewhere comfortable. I want to go somewhere where, because we just interviewed Jan Arden, if I mentioned that, and she's got that great lyric that says, "No, I will not lay down. I will not be a ghost in this town. I'm not lonely. Swear to God, I'm just alone." And I thought, wow, that's a great metaphor for it. So I was like, packed my suitcase, and that was it. Got in a plane, went to Rome in January, which not many people do.
Solo, just to be clear, you went all by yourself. You just went to Rome.
I did. I landed in Rome, and I ended up in a 17th century monastery. I told you, 1 floor above the nuns. Lots of Armenian nuns below, had pizza every night and drank beer and partied, which I thought was awesome. And I was in the city center, so I could go to Campio di Fiore. That's like the biggest market in Rome, the Pantheon, Colosseum. I was, Borghese Gardens, the Vatican. Everything was like within 2 miles of walking. So like I could literally go to something from like BC times and take a look at it. So it was just such a great inspiration to think and to recalibrate. And it wasn't easy, but it's the best thing I ever did. I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I did it.
And I was, we were in contact. Thank you to WhatsApp. Like we
WhatsApp.
were in contact, right? But at this point, so you're in Rome for several weeks. At this point, I can't remember the exact timelines, but X's and uh-ohs was dead, right? Like that. Yeah. So X's and uh-ohs, even though you did do some episodes, including one with our boyfriend, Canada's boyfriend, George
Strombo. I love that episode. And again, like when I did that episode with him, it's not like I opened it up and I was like, oh my God, the tabloid. It was like, no, not at all. Like we just hit it hard. We just hit it hard because
we talked about him and his exes. He's only got like 600 of them, right?
And he said, I can't believe I'm doing this. I would not do this with anybody else. Right. So we talked about our exes, and then it turned into this wonderful conversation about his mom. And like, so he was amazing. I loved interviewing him, but and that happened in December. And then it was like, and I enjoyed it. And I was like, I think that I need to find something new. And then it came to me in Rome, and we're having a blast doing it. Like we're several episodes in, we're interviewing the most amazing women, and we're loving it. And I love that we didn't quit. I love that we rolled with it.
And let's shout out the fact that so if for those who are keeping up with us here, so the podcast is now called Senior Bitches with Mary Jo Eustace.
Yes.
Is a rule is like, I mean, your guests, maybe not the guests in the first episode, because the first episode, I saw it as like the pivot episode. Like we have to reset this whole thing, because forever we were X's and uh-ohs, and now we're senior bitches, because I wanted, to have some continuity. So your guest in the first episode is actually yours truly. It's you and I chatting about what the fuck went down. I'm not over 55, but henceforth are all guests over the age of 55. Is that the deal?
I think so. There might be a few exceptions. I've got my eyes on a few people if I can get them and they're not 55, but yes, I want to celebrate that. And everybody that we've done so far is over 55. And, uh, Jan Arden's episode was called Happy because you can't help but be happy when you talk to Jan Arden. Our first episode was called Roma because we dug deep into all this stuff. And then with Jeannie, right. And then with Anne Marie's episode up next weekend, next week, it's called Ouch, That Hurts. And she was the one who said, you're a senior, so you just fucking better own it. And then we have Jeannie Becker, and then I'm working on a really special episode with a friend of mine, and then, Ray Dawn will come on. So it's just, I'm excited about it. And we're learning something every single time with these women and their journeys and their stories. And look, they're messy and crazy and all of it, because it's not just this homogenous path, that's for sure, which we love. Like they're dirty and deep. So that's what I'm interested in.
I told you earlier that I've got a few questions for you from people like Ray Don Chong and David Ryder and Mike Shorman and all three FOTMs, by the way, but we'll get to those questions I'm in here. Let me just, generally speaking, I've heard you say this on X's and Uh-Ohs, but I can't remember anymore because we recorded 11 and only dropped 2, so I can't remember if this ever made the public realm. But you hate Toronto, right?
Have I said that?
Yeah. I took a mental note. You said I hate Toronto.
Well, that's harsh. I don't think I should say I hate Toronto talking to Toronto Mike. I just know
you're from here, right? Where are you from?
I'm from Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm from Toronto. But I've been in California for 20 years.
Yeah, but you're 60, so you had 40 years here. Own your age.
Oh, right.
Or is that rude if I called you?
Okay. No, you can. It doesn't offend me at all. So I've been in California for 20 years, and I just, the weather kills me, and it's like hometown, like, I do love Canada. I do love it. I have to admit, I do love it. I love them both there. I've just changed my narrative.
Sounds like you don't like the climate, which I wouldn't blame you for that. We've had we have a much shittier climate than you get in LA.
It's more the climate, but like when you find your place, like California is just my place. I can't explain it, back to our previous life discussion. It's just my place. I love it. I just do.
Did you
I don't
consider
know.
moving to Rome? It sounds like Rome might be your place. Like, was there any?
I love it. I love Italy. I would love to. I love Europe. I would love to do that.
I want to visit you in Rome, and we'll
anytime. I know it.
Back there. Okay, so the reason I asked about Toronto is because a fun fact is your parents still live in Toronto.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you and I, even though we've been now, I don't know what the math is on this, but it feels like we've been working together a year now, okay?
10 years. It feels like 10 years.
Shout out to FOTM Bob Willett, who I believe introduced us.
Oh, my old producer.
At Proud FM, right?
Yes.
There's a question coming up about Proud FM.
Bob Willett used to surf porn in the morning and like eat hot dogs and not pay
did you
attention
catch
to our
him?
teacher.
You caught him surfing the pornography?
If not surfing porn, definitely on Facebook. He would like just lose interest because Ken would like be in the wrong mic and give like the wrong cue. And Bob would just be on Facebook having a Danish and just be losing his mind because Ken would miss every cue possible, right? Every cue possible.
One of the questions is regarding Ken, so we're going to get to Ken.
Okay.
And I'm going to get to the questions. But, if you ever do come to Toronto and I'm lucky enough to meet you, I'm just going to share with you a few quick, few gifts I will give you, Mary Jo Eustace.
Okay. Good.
Fresh craft beer from Great Lakes Brewery. Delicious. I love the people at Great Lakes. I'm going to be crushing some Great Lakes with my friend FOTM Hall of Famer Cam Gordon tomorrow at Sugar Beach. We have plans to meet at Sugar Beach to crush some Great Lakes beer. Okay, that's going to happen. Wow. So I'm going to get you fresh craft beer.
I'm getting on a plane now. I'm on a plane. Go.
I'm on a plane. I can't
I'm leaving on a jet plane. Okay.
You're John Denver, I think there. I don't know. I'm doing Nirvana with On a Plane. Okay, so you were just in Italy. That's where they make the best Italian food because it's fucking Italy. But you know what? If you can't get to Italy, you can get to Palma Pasta. I can't wait to give you a lasagna from Palma Pasta.
Oh, that sounds like a euphemism for something else. It's like, I can't wait to give you a
sizable sausage in that lasagna for you, Mary Jo. Okay.
So now I'm perked up.
We've already shouted out Ridley Funeral Home. I have measuring tape for you, so you can measure what you want. I don't know what you want to measure.
I guess for my urn for my ashes, right?
Right, because you're being cremated. That's right.
I'm going to be cremated.
Just in case they bury you alive, because that's
I don't.
happens all the time.
On soap operas, it always happens. You're buried a week and then you wake up and you can't get out. So I want to be cremated. That's my thinking.
Smart.
Yeah.
I have a wireless speaker for you from Moneris, and with that wireless speaker, you will be listening to season 4 of Yes, We Are Open, hosted by FOTML Grego, because he's got inspiring stories from small business owners. And as an entrepreneur yourself, you're going to want to hear this inspiration.
I do. I want to. Okay. It's like a gift basket. It's wonderful.
And this, I feel like you would really benefit because it's for like reputation management, crisis management, PR, getting you in the news for positive things. They do a great job. I would love to introduce you to Matt and Jared from The Moment Lab. The Moment Lab, proud new sponsors of Toronto Mic'd, and they work with brands like Mary Jo Eustace. They would be.
I'm down. I'm down for it. Absolutely.
And last but not least, go to recyclemyelectronics.ca. This is more for your parents who are here in Toronto. Maybe they have an old 8-track player that doesn't work anymore. I don't want your dad throwing that in the garbage, okay?
Okay.
The chemicals in that 8-track player are going to end up in the landfill. You've got to go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, find out where you can drop off that 8-track player safely, properly. That's what your dad's going to do, Mary Jo.
You've covered death, recycle, pasta, alcohol.
How old is your dad?
Some stuff you mentioned, I don't understand what it is, but my dad's 87 and my mom is 86. 86. She was just in California. She's wonderful. She's a wonderful gal.
You got good genes there.
They're amazing. So yeah, that whole package sounds really great. Get it together.
Okay, so now I'm going to get to the questions, but now that I've mentioned your parents...
question. Do I get a baseball hat? What's the baseball hat? What's that?
That's Roy Halladay, the late great, the second greatest starting pitcher in Blue Jays history after Dave Stieb. Roy Halladay. He's in the Hall of Fame. Dave's not.
Okay. Didn't know that. All right. Good to know.
I got a lot of useless info for you.
Okay.
One thing that saddens me about not releasing the 9 episodes with your ex is that we had that great episode with your parents.
With my dad. Yeah, that was a good one. Oh, well.
What would happen? Like, could he sue me if I drop that? Like, what's he gonna do? He's already hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll put a lid on that one.
Only one way to find out. We'll talk off.
Look at you. You're all cocky and ballsy today. Look at you. All right. Something. The brain kicked in. Something happened there. Okay.
My brain's absorbing everything. Okay. Ray Dong Chong, who was on my show, and I had the best convo with her, and she's going to be back on my show. And I absolutely loved her vibe. Like, she's also a Canadian living in LA, right? She's like you.
She's an icon. She's a true icon. She's amazing.
She wrote me when she heard Mary Jo Eustace was returning to Toronto Mic'd solo. She was very excited. She wrote, "What does it feel like to be a stunningly gorgeous woman who is hilarious, joyful, and very loyal and loving in a crazy mixed up world?"
Oh my God, she sent that?
I read it verbatim.
Yeah, it's really funny because my mom was just here, and Ray Dawn and my mom and I went out for dinner, and my mom was like, "You two are the same people. Like we're very similar." She's just anyway. I mean, she's such a force, and I'm so thankful and lucky that we became friends the last 2 or 3 years. Like she's such an important person in my life, such a warrior, and so supportive. And she, by the way, is the most loyal person in the entire world. And what's really so great about her is her word is gold. Because a lot of people, they say, "Oh, we'll do this, we'll do that." They don't show up, they bail. Not her. If she says it, she does it. Wow. So that's a question. So basically, what is it like to be fabulous in the world and you get kicked down all the time? Is that what she's asking me?
Well, let's pretend that's what she wrote. Yeah.
Oh, did she not write that?
Well, she wrote, "What's it like being you in a crazy mixed up world?"
I think that it's getting better. I think some days it's wonderful and empowering, and wow, it's just such a great ride. And some days it's a little bit more difficult because she talks about this. If you have a strong personality as a woman, it's tough. And a strong personality doesn't mean you're perfect, obviously, but if you have a personality that's a little out there and in your face, some people just don't support it. They don't support you having that light. And we've talked a bit about this, that people can want to take you down. And again, not as a victim, it's just a fact, it just happens. And so she's had that a lot in her life. So sometimes we discuss that. I think that, and she would say this, and I would say this, after years of it happening, it makes you stronger. You start to get a lot stronger and you start to rely more on yourself, but it's a process and you can certainly get knocked off the wagon. And, but it's, it's the closer you get to it, it's great. It's great. It's great.
I can tell by looking at you, talking to you, I can tell you're probably not a big Simpsons fan. You don't watch a lot of Simpsons, right?
No, I don't. Should I?
So. Well, I mean, of course you should, but
yeah,
stick to the first 6 seasons. You'll be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're in like season 32 or something. I don't know. But the reason I bring up the Simpsons is because there's this great episode with John Waters, and it's like Homer is upset that he calls himself queer. Because Homer Simpson, the episode's called Homer Phobia, I think, something like that. Homer says, "Hey, that was our word for you, and now you took that word from us." Like he's upset that they took, like, as a proud gay man, he took ownership of the word queer and turned it into a powerful force. Whereas Homer, being less open-minded, wanted that word to be what he would call a gay man, queer. Like he took it back. And you were just talking about, strong willed women, and how one of the words I think of by ignorant people for a woman like that might be the word bitch. Like whenever, like if a woman is outspoken, cocky, proud, exuberant, a man might try to put this woman, an ignorant asshole man might try to put this woman down by calling her a bitch. But what I think you are doing, and I'll let you speak for yourself since you're actually here, but with senior bitches, you're doing what John Waters did with the word queer. You are taking that word and you're using it as a badge of honor. You're a senior bitch.
Yeah. I am. And the women in my life that I love, I always sign up. I always say, "How are you, biatch?" I'll meet you at biatch, or like, love you, bitch. Because I do. A badass bitch is like, as I call Jeannie Becker. I don't know. I kind of regret that.
I witnessed the moment. I know I witnessed a moment, and this will be in the feed shortly. Because right now, if you go subscribe right now, because I drop these right away. So if you go to Senior Bitches right now, you're gonna find that episode with me, which we dropped, I think, like Tuesday or something. And then the episode we dropped yesterday with Jan Arden, 2 of Canada's biggest celebrities back to back. But Jeannie Becker's coming in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned. Get subscribed, and it'll drop on your phone. But you did call her a bitch off the top, and there was a moment of awkwardness where she was like, "I don't know if I like being called a bitch." Like you could tell it was like, "Hey, that's a bad thing to call somebody." And you said, "No, it's good."
I said it's good. A badass bitch. Like when I say it with admiration. So I'm changing the word around. Like I think it's like, fuck yeah.
Right.
Listen, she was in the trenches of rock and roll. Like she is a badass bitch. And she laughed about it and she was so cool. She said, "I'm going to roll with it." So when senior bitches is like, I always want there to be humor. I always want it to be a bit irreverent. Like we're talking serious topics, cancer, death, coming out, like estrangements, and and also all the humor and beauty around it. And I want to have that irony, that twist on it. I love senior bitches, because I think it's a collective. I choose to see it as a positive word. I choose to use it as a positive word.
And I feel like you took that word back and you're using it as a positive, and that takes away the power from these ignoramuses who will use it as a negative. No.
Right.
Fuck you.
I agree.
I'm a senior bitch. Watch out.
Oh my God, look at you. You've got like estrogen flowing through your veins now. What's happening?
I had a vasectomy.
Is it your stroke? Is your stroke kicking in again? I don't know what it is, but senior bitches. Right. It's like we're senior bitches.
And you're in LA and I'm in Toronto, so you can't punch me, but I'm actually going to read this next question verbatim. So I went on Twitter and I said, Mary Jo Eustace is coming back to Toronto, Mike. And that's where I got the Ray Don Chong question. And I read that verbatim for you. So I'm actually going to read this question because it's coming from a journalist I respect very much. David Ryder. After the John Tory news broke that next morning, I had a recorded phone call with David Ryder about basically, like, when did the Toronto Star get wind that John Tory might be having an inappropriate relationship with a City Hall staffer? How did they approach it? Like, what did, like, all the nuts and bolts of that story before it went to press? Because shortly after that story went to press, John Tory called a press conference and said, I'm stepping down. And that's why we're in the middle of a freaking mayoral election here in this city with like 65 people running or something. But David Ryder, I respect the heck out of this guy as a journalist. And by all accounts, because he's an FOTM who took my call that next morning, he is a sweetheart. So I'm going to read what he wrote, and then you can either reply or you can say, I'd like the next question, which deals with Ken Kostick. Are you ready?
Is this question going to give me diarrhea? I'm nervous
remember,
already.
This is a public figure. This is a Toronto Star journalist who put this on Twitter, public Twitter. So this is
Is it for me, the question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So
okay.
What insights has Mary Jo Eustace gained about the Tory PR publicity machine? Who is in it, how it works, what it costs her, who it targets? It seems fearsome. So that's David Ryder's question for you. You can address that question, or you can ask me for the next one.
Okay, I mean, I can address it because I can address it. I thought you were going to say Mayor Tory, and I'm like, Jesus. No, I think that.
That's right. Yeah. I just talked about Mayor Tory. This Tory has an at the end.
Okay. I would say, and it could be that person you asked me about, or it could be another person who utilizes them. It's like an ongoing relationship that you have. That, what is that expression? Quid pro quid. You do this for me. Quid pro quo. You do this for me. I do this. I'll drop this here. Like, I can start a narrative here. Will it get picked up? Will it get completed? There's a fabric of it, and you can launch it at any time and utilize it. And it can be very one-sided. And then what happens when the public gets involved in the comments and everything, that's where it takes a different trajectory, right? Because people are like, what the fuck? And this and that. And then they can be brutal. I mean, I would never want to be in that. I mean, like, that's amplification of public visibility, whether it's who you asked me about or somebody. I would never want to be in that position. How scary. You're just open season. But there's definitely people who work it all the time. And it's a real thing. And that's how it runs. I mean, when I see stories from A to Z from people and I see them, I'm like, oh my God, that's so planted. Okay, got it. You just saw it with Reese Witherspoon because she's getting a divorce from her husband. She runs a huge company. I can't even imagine she has any time for her marriage because she's so phenomenally successful as a producer and an actress. So you see the narrative starting to come out. Everything's good. Everything's fine. It's because of this. And then it's coming, right? Like, so they set the groundwork, and it's not very smart. It's not really, it's just kind of little click bites, but you see it. And the force of it is when it gets picked up and thrown out there, and then it can go viral. It can catch, and there's no truth in it. And it's like, then it's done. It's one and done. So it's a constant engagement. You have to constantly be engaged. And like, if you look at the coronation, right? Like, that's the whole thing they talk about with the Palace and the Daily Mail and all those publications, right? Like, they're just like this. They go back and forth, and they both depend on each other for revenue, right? It's revenue.
Quid pro quo.
Quid pro quo. I said quid pro quid, which was wrong, but quid pro quo. So
I speak Latin.
Yes, clearly. So it's a huge machine, and it's a huge commitment, and it's huge engagement to keep it at that level. Yeah, you're not passive.
Right. David Ryder says it seems fearsome to him, and he's again, accomplished journalist who
It is fearsome. It's fearsome. What a great word. He's smart, that David.
Yeah, he's pretty bright.
Yeah, no, it's fearsome.
He's pretty smart.
It's fearsome. It's intimidating. It's actually scary. And when we talk about this stuff, because I have personal things going on behind it, I get scared of it. It does kind
Well,
of
that's
scare
why I
me.
gave you that option to tap out. I didn't want to put you in
Yeah,
a position where
it
you were not feeling
it
comfortable.
freaks me out. It's not like, if you say or do something, it can go unnoticed, like you can get penalized, but I'll take it. But yeah, it's a fearsome, fearsome machine
You
for
said A
sure.
to Z. When did you switch from A to Z to A to Z?
Because is Z American?
Yeah. Because, you were here for 40 fucking years, MJ. And it was always
Eight.
A to Z. And then
Well, at least
suddenly,
I say pasta. I don't say pasta. I say aunt, not aunt, because that's what the Americans say. But Z, I don't know. That's a really good question. You're right, Z. I do Z.
it's A to Z. Come on.
A to Z.
Mike Shorman, who is
Mm-hmm.
an FOTM, he writes, can you ask her about her friendship and collaboration with Ken Kostick? Now, we did a lot of this when you were on with Dean McDermott, but,
Yeah.
there were two of you on. So this is your chance to really dive into because he's no longer with us. Can you just talk about Ken for a while? I love hearing the Ken Kostick.
Oh, yeah. Listen, um, it's funny because I was thinking the other day, like he passed away 2011, 12 years ago. So many friends. So I miss him so much. Like I really miss him. And I talked to him and God, I could use him now. I could use him now because he was such a pit bull for me. He was so fierce and so determined and such a great advocate. And, just adored him. It was complicated. We sued each other. We had fights. We did all our bullshit. But I loved him. He was the funniest person I knew. We would have so much fun on set. Like, number one, he never got the right camera. He could not open a show. He'd look at the wrong camera. And I remember, do you know Dennis Saunders?
Was he on Polka Dot Door? No.
Yeah, he might have been. He did Much Music. He was the coolest guy. He was our director. He'd be up in the booth drinking like beer with his Hawaiian shirt on. Like he was with Much Music with all, like Strombo would know him. All these guys would know him.
Okay,
So,
yeah, he was not on Polka Dot Door, by the way, but go on. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. He might have been smoking weed. I don't know what he was more of a beer guy, but he was like the coolest guy. And he would come to set like in February in a Hawaiian shirt and shorts, right? So he'd roll on to set and give us our cues. MJ, you open, Ken, daily tip, viewer mail, whatever. Every time Ken would get it wrong. Okay, every single time. So our very last show, and Dennis was so good natured, Ken blew the camera. And Dennis came down and said, I just wanted for our last show for you to get one fucking camera shot right. One. And you're going to get it right on the next take. And Ken was like, and he did. He got it right. So Dennis came down and lost his shit. But I think if you interviewed anybody who worked on What's for Dinner, because we did over 500 shows and it's on Amazon Prime right now. So please tune in. Anybody who worked on our show would say it was the most fun they've ever had in their entire life. What happened in between scenes was the gold.
Do you make any money when Prime airs that show?
Not when Prime, but I did make residuals before. But and yeah, so Ken was a force. We traveled together. We did another show called He Said, She Said, which was hysterical. Actually, I liked it more almost than What's for Dinner. It was hilarious. And we did a radio show together called What's for Breakfast.
Well, that's where the Bob Willett comes in, right? Because we alluded
That's where
to it
Bob
earlier.
Willett, yeah.
Right. And that was on Proud FM.
Proud FM. So he was my favorite person ever, the most fun ever. The most inappropriate ever, the smartest ever, smart, like crazy, crazy smart. And, I think I told this story in your show before, but I was living in California and I found out he was ill. And I was coming to Toronto and he was in love with my daughter, Lola. He was just such a great role model for her. So I came up to Toronto to do some work. And just before I came up, he had like a really bad health incident. So he was in the ICU and was not good. So I went to visit him in the hospital the first day that I got there, and I would go every day and just sit with him because I didn't want to say goodbye to him. And I remember, I think I told you this. So he was hooked up to machines and he was like kind of pumped with fluid, but his skin looked perfect. Like he had not one wrinkle. Like I said to him, I have never seen you look hotter and younger than you look right now. And I said to him, you can say goodbye. It's okay. You can. And I left that night and the next day he passed away.
Oh, man.
I know.
How old was he when he passed?
58.
Fuck, that's too young.
It was too fucking young. we could still be working. We would still be pumping out the same old shit. The two of us would still be doing it
You'd have a
because,
podcast. You and Ken would have a very successful.
oh, another
podcast.
TV show. It would be endless. So I really, 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 really miss him. He was a wonderful person, the best ever, the best.
And as you said on your last visit to Toronto, Mike, he was an undercover CSIS agent.
Yeah, he worked thesis. Yeah, yeah.
And that's
He
not
also
bullshit, right? Like I sometimes I think that's a bit, but that's real.
no, he worked with CSIS. He had a black belt in karate. He like, I don't know, broke some guy's shoulder once when the guy tried to steal his mom's purse. He was ferocious. Ken was ferocious mentally and physically. Like he had a black belt, and you did not want to cross him. If you crossed him, forget about it. You'd be eviscerated. So as kind as he was, there was a line, but oh yeah, he did the stuff that he got up to. Like he had, he would have had to have all these alter lives because he was such an interesting person. He was such a complex person. But yeah, he did. He was.
Wow.
He was.
I'm sorry I never got to meet Ken Kostick. And I'm
Oh my
sorry
God,
for
you'd
the loss.
love him. You'd love him. He used to wear makeup to the radio show in the morning. I'm like, are you wearing foundation and lip gloss? And he would say to me, I don't want to look homeless like some people I know. And I was like, fine. Ask
was
Bob. Ken
Bob
wore
Willett,
makeup.
right?
Every morning he wore makeup.
Hey, is this true? Bob told me a story about real quick here that I guess your daughter Lola had chicken pox, and you wore a sweater into the office that had chicken pox on it, and Bob Willett had never had chicken pox, and because he put on the sweater or leaned against the sweater, Bob got chicken pox. Is this true?
Is that true?
Like, is that anything that sound realistic? Did Lola ever have chicken pox?
Lola had chicken pox. How's this for a story? How's this for a bitch in a bad way? This woman who Lola used to go play with her kids. How about this? So I was going to New York for work. I had something that I had to do. So I took Lola for a play date on the Thursday before I left. So I dropped Lola off and I go to pick up Lola. Like I go to this girl's yard and we're sitting in the backyard and chatting with her. And I'm like, oh, where are the kids? Her kid runs out. He's got chicken pox so badly. He's got a chicken pox like on his eyeball. I'm like,
Yeah.
Your kids have chicken pox? She's like, yeah. I'm like, and this is information that you didn't feel you need to share with me. And she's like, well, you want your kids to get it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Because Lola was halfway between the vaccination.
Oh.
So she got chicken pox so badly.
That woman made a parental decision on your behalf that they had no right to make.
Yeah. I called her and she was so flippant about it. And like, that was evil. Her kids were chicken pox the fuck
if
out.
I connect these dots, that's shitty. That's almost worse than what Hebsy did to me this morning by bailing and not giving me any notice. So when you got that, so Lola gets chicken pox from that, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe you wear a sweater into the Proud FM office that Bob Willett gets chicken pox from. Like he told a story on my show, and I just wanted to corroborate it. But you cause adult chicken pox is very different. It's very dangerous.
Oh, this is coming back to me.
Coming back to you now. So
maybe.
Apparently Bob says there's no statute of limitations. He's still consulting with a lawyer about suing you, about giving him chicken pox back in whatever that was. I don't know.
Good luck. Did he say I was the best person he's ever worked with? I think he said that.
Well, I actually didn't know fuck all about you because no offense, I didn't watch What's for Dinner or What's for Breakfast. Okay.
It's
so
okay.
I just didn't know. And I kind of knew the name. I also always hated tabloid stuff. Like I have no interest in the tabloids and I have no interest in TMZ and all that stuff. No interest. So I didn't know this name, Mary Jo Eustace, but I listened. I was helping Bob at the time. I was producing Bob's Basement, which was Bob's podcast. And Bob had an episode with Mary Jo Eustace. That's you, by the way. And I went for a bike ride and I said, oh, I kind of know this name, but I have no fucking clue who this Mary Jo Eustace is. And I wrote Bob after and I said, this is my favorite Bob's Basement. I love this woman. You can ask Bob.
Oh, that's so sweet. And look where we are now.
Okay, so I want to put everything on a nice bow here as we say goodbye here. So everything has changed since your last Toronto Mic'd episode. But what's new is that you have a solo project, a podcast called Senior Bitches. And it's good. I can verify that. I get to produce this show. And I encourage everyone listening to subscribe to Senior Bitches. Just pause me right now. Go subscribe. welcome back. You just subscribed. Amazing. Senior bitches, people should subscribe. I have one last question for you, Mary Jo, before I give you an opportunity to share your final thoughts. And then
I'm single. Okay, go.
Are you single?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you available? Like, I mean, in the sense that are you looking to have a boyfriend?
I think so. Jeannie Becker told me I should.
Okay.
She did, yeah.
Jeannie met her current partner when she was about your age, right? So your age is 61.
She was 64.
Okay, but close enough.
Yeah. And she's madly in love.
She's madly in love, and she deserves love as you do. So are you on an app like Tinder? This is not my final question. I'm now curious.
I'm on Grindr, Mike.
Well,
I'm switching it up. I never go on. I mean, I've got the app, but I never actually end up going on dates off the app. But I told you, I'm having conversations with somebody right now who's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
We're just talking for hours and hours and hours.
But how did you meet this person? You have conversations?
It was on an app, but I don't even know how it happened. And so we've become like phone buddies and friends. We've been talking for like a couple of months. It's a blast. It's a blast. So
you don't recognize the voice? It's not Dean, right?
Yeah, it's Dean. And I want to talk to you about our next show.
I don't want you to get
It's going to happen. Yeah. I'm getting catfish right now, but it's okay. It's good for me.
You don't know. Like, you should maybe at least do a live video chat and just see if their lips are.
Oh, no. Yeah. No. He's completely vetted. Yeah. No, he's not a hologram. He's completely vetted. It's very, very sweet and lovely. And it's just really a nice, positive energy. It's great energy.
Okay.
You can't fake 3 hours of conversation. You cannot.
3 hours of something else. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, either it's hard. No pun intended.
That's what she said.
No pun intended. So, So we'll see.
Hey, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you.
I'm trying.
Final question is, you're 61 years old. You're owning your numbers, so I'm going to say.
I just turned 61.
Yeah, May 1st.
I was 60 like a week ago.
We actually launched Senior Bitches the day you turned 61. That was on purpose. Okay, so you're 61 in a few days. You look great. I've never met you. I'm just looking at you through Zoom lenses, and you look amazing for any age. I don't want to say anymore for 61 because that suggests like it's ageist in my opinion. That sentence. I should stop. I'm going to erase it from my.
I've told you to erase that from your lexicon. Yeah.
So you look great. You're 61. Would you ever get? What's it called? Plastic surgery? What's the word for that?
Oh, I thought you were going to say married. I thought you were going to say married.
I mean, I think if you meet the right guy, you'll get married if you want to.
Oh, do you think I've aged since? Do you think I've aged since we've started this podcast?
No, I don't think so. It's only been an hour. Just kidding. Okay, Mary Jo.
Have I aged since June? No.
Well, I haven't noticed anything different. You put on the lipstick for me. Jeannie Becker didn't get that much lipstick.
Okay. So you're saying I have not aged like 10 years since.
Would you get plastic surgery? Like, I see women, I won't name anybody, but I see women younger than you who obviously had cosmetic surgery done. Like, I can see obvious cosmetic surgery. And I am curious whether you will allow yourself to continue aging gracefully and naturally, or if you would consider going under the knife.
Well, I have Botox and
that surgery. What is that? Needle, right?
Yeah, Botox. Yeah, so it's to get rid of wrinkles. And I've had some fillers, but I don't have them now because I don't like how they look. I just don't have any fat on my face. So, but I do my Botox. At this point in time, would not want to. I don't want to. It scares me because who knows what you're going to end up with. But anybody who wants to, knock yourself out. I support whatever you want to do.
Sure. But again, do what you want. It's your body.
Yeah.
It's your body. You're right. But I do notice some women end up looking like aliens.
Well, especially here, it's really frightening. You should see what I can see. And it's like the fillers because, look at Madonna. I mean, come on. We can say, the OG, I thought of feminism and such. I can understand why she says I can own my face. It empowers me, but there seems to be a line people can cross that it is visceral. It's visual. You can see, like, you don't even look like yourself anymore. So I'm not sure if when you have plastic surgery that extreme, shouldn't you just say you had it? Isn't that the conversation if we're being
If you're
open
gonna
and
own your
honest
own
about
your
it?
number, if you're gonna own your number, maybe you should own your plastic surgeries as well.
Oh, that's a good way to end. Okay, God. Okay, good.
Thank
That's
you,
excellent.
MJ. I love chatting with you, and
I love chatting with you too. Thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,251st show.
Woohoo!
You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike. Don't tweet at Mary Jo. There's nobody manning that fucking booth.
Instagram. So
follow Mary Jo Eustace on Instagram. Is it just Mary Jo Eustace?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, and do it. Mary Jo's a great follow on Instagram. She's a shitty follow on Twitter. Our friends at Great Lakes Brewery, they're at Great Lakes Beer. Palma Pasta's at Palma Pasta. Moneris is at Moneris. Recycle My Electronics are at EPRA_Canada. The Moment Lab, they're at The Moment Lab. And Ridley Funeral Home are at Ridley FH. See you next Monday when my special guest is Kurt Swinghammer.
Ooh.